Image is paper, character is the flesh. Over time, they both rot. Choose which is the best. Saukrates' philosophy, I choose the latter. Of the two, drop a jewel and watch a nigga scatter. Father time ticks on to 97? The early morning breaks the dawn. Emperor whose empire crushes the pawn. Giving new birth to a novel scene. Building my dreams. Blow out your smoke screen.
What you had, you're behind the scenes. You pushed this.
Yeah, I pushed this. This is our very first release. Knee Deep Entertainment was Father Time in 21 years.
Yeah. Your label.
Come on. Yeah.
Knee Deep.
Knee Deep Entertainment.
Oh, stuff gets me emotional, man. Brings back memories. Oh my God. Man, we're talking about almost 30 years, man.
96.
Yeah, that's almost 2020. Yeah, almost 30 years. Jesus.
Yeah, 96 is
good times, man.
Yeah.
Hey, yo,
that's how it started.
This is Steady Mobbin, episode 513. We got Glory in the building. Hi. We got Brooklyn in the building.
Hey.
And we got the man, the legend,
like a real legend, not the legend that people just, the word they throw out just to appease people, like an actual legend.
The legend, the man who opened the doors to show the youth them that, there is light on the other side of Canada. Mm-hmm. We got Chislock in the building.
Bang, bang, bang.
Choclair.
Hey, what's up?
Dang.
Hey, I want to thank you so much for coming out today, and we wanted to give you your flowers. Somebody once told us instead of giving flowers, we give trees.
Yes.
Dang.
Fuck the flowers. Give me the tree.
Give me the tree.
Shout out Big Apple for that quote.
Yeah, we're gonna give you the trees today. We
got actual trees like the ones you smoke. Sure. You don't smoke, do you?
He does smoke.
Yeah.
Don't do that to him.
We got editing. I don't know if you're trying to.
All right, it's all good.
Earlier we were talking about Knee Deep Records.
Yeah.
How did that come up? How did that even come in your brain? Like, what was the meaning behind the name of the song? I mean, the record label. And when did you go to the bank or go to the city, and register the name? Like, how did that? Tell me all about that. Let's start off with registering the name. How did you register the name?
Okay, so we were talking about this earlier. I guess before it was the studio that I would go to was down Jane and Dundas. So sometimes I had a real I had 82 links. With the Flintstone floors on the thing, so you actually have to drive the car with your feet.
Stop.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty rusted. It was 82 link. It's when they changed, they don't even make the links anymore. Now they changed them to the Escort, and I don't even think they make Ford Escorts anymore.
So haven't.
So it was like the pre-chain of the chain of that thing. That's how old and beat up the car was. Wow. That's why I had the Flintstone floor.
So how did you register the name? Were you you went to the city or what?
We went. So I used to go down to Woolner, Jane and Woolner, and take the bus from Kennedy to Jane, and take the bus from Jane to.
Was it 2-hour transit?
It was about 2 hours, yeah. So to be there for 6, I had to leave at 5 and make sure I catch that bus to make that connection.
God damn.
And so I would be doing recordings up there and stuff like that. And I remember we used to make cassettes and try and give them out to A&Rs and stuff like that. And, it was just kind of nobody would call back, nothing, Yeah. You would walk into the A&R's office and look in the basket on the side and you see somebody else's cassette in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was So I just went, his name was Day, D-A-Y. And I was just like, man, you know what? Forget this. I'm tired of doing demos and just, because I'm sitting on all this music, I'm tired of doing demos and sending them in and nobody listening, listening to them, right? And so I said, man, if anything, we should just do it ourselves.
Wow.
And then he calls me the next day. I remember Double Soul was there. Because we used to record in his bedroom.
Uh-huh.
That's a whole situation in its own right there. But people would come to his studio, Sox. That's where I met him through Sox, because when I first met Sox, that was the studio he was going through too.
Okay.
And then when I was working with him, I would go there, and then I started working on my own without him, and I would still just go there. I was the studio I knew, but everybody was there. And I remember 2 days later, he called me. He goes, "Were you serious about that?" And I was like, yeah, man, yeah. If no one's going to help, we might as well. And then I remember I felt like one of them 70s movie beginnings, like, one of them ones where the girl throws her hat in the air and it pauses. Because then I remember going downtown, getting off on the streetcar there, going into, I think it's 300 University, where you register businesses and everything.
Yeah.
And then I went in there. I think it was $80, and they tried to jack me up to a bill $20 because for some search of. I was like, nah, man, 80's enough. Like, you gotta remember too, like, I'm ass broke.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't like.
Come up.
Yeah, like, you know how much I had to save to just get here, and then I don't even know if I have enough to get on the train back home. Like, I have to go in through the back doors or something,
So what year was that?
This is like 93.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
93, 94.
So you didn't actually blow till 96.
So like 97, late 96, 97.
3 years later.
3 years grinding.
3 years grind. Oh yeah, like because at that point, the little showcase here and a showcase there, but nobody knows me.
Yeah.
I don't have any record out. I don't have no music out. I'm just going off the hype that I'm hyping myself up
So
with.
how do you know anything about like running a label, right?
Well, we didn't.
You guys just
Who's we?
Me and Day.
Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because me and Day, we did Knee Deep Entertainment, and then so the story is pretty much, so we went and we because it's all come out at the same time. So I went over to 300, went and did the register, got that. I remember coming home, showing my look, I'm a business owner.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah, I felt so proud. I was like, okay, now what are we gonna do with it? So what are we gonna do now? Okay, now like I'm more on like, I'm seeing all these like the Puff Daddies are starting to come up, and I'm seeing all the perks from behind the scenes. Like I'm like, what? Teddy Riley does what? And like, I'm starting to hear all these other things. So now I'm just, so then Day comes up to me and is like, look, here, we got this record. Because I'm just making demos, but I didn't think I made anything spectacular at that moment that we would be like, here's the single. So he was like, boom, he plays me Father Time. One time I was up the studio and I was like, yo, this is dope. And he's like, yeah, like I got this. I got DJ Grouch on the remix, scratching and everything like that. Like there's 2 versions of it.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, yeah, that's dope. We should do it. He's like, we need a B-side because you always had to have a B-side.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, what do we have? I don't know. You want to record something?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll write something.
Yeah.
And then
21 years.
And that was 21 years.
Woo!
And that went on the B-side. So now we're pressing up these records, and as you were asking, how did we know? Well, we just from DJs, DJ X used to talk to us a lot about stuff. Gemini, because they were the Choclair. That's a whole nother story. The 88.1 CKLN, they called themselves the Choclair. They became like my fan base. They helped get me started. So we just would talk and be like, okay, well, you have to ship records to people now. Like, we weren't emailing.
That was
like that.
But what year was this?
This is okay. So this would be like 95-ish now. Like, so we're in 95 and we're like, all our paperwork is up to whatever we need to do. All of our registering. We got some, but we really didn't, we didn't go for it. I think maybe he went for it and he didn't qualify for whatever reason.
Sure.
Because, we had our Knee Deep Entertainment bank account, and there was never at no beginning point a big influx of money that ever came in. It was just like, how much you got this weekend? And I was like, shoot. Because then I was also a daycare teacher. I was working at a daycare.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember you said that the other day.
Yeah. I was, so I'm coming from school that finished at 2:30. Then I work from 2:30 to 6. Then I go from 6, get to the studio at 9.
You were hungry.
God.
Yeah,
damn.
and then I would leave at like 12 because they would tell me not to be out too late in them
Like,
parts.
People don't understand that you literally created this shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
Like, that's a real grind. Like,
Yeah.
without no help, no nothing. Like, you actually, you did all that. You were able to go to school.
Yep.
You were able to work. You were able to,
Yep.
you were able to balance your career all at the same time because of the simple fact you were hungry. You were that hungry.
Yeah, and it was, it was just that hunger to want to do it every day, like, and just believing in what you have, you know, like you like, I'm sure someone who sucks knows they suck but they try to tell them that they don't.
No, I don't know about that.
And I'm not just talking.
anymore.
I'm not just talking rapping. I'm talking rap, sing, building a fence.
Yeah. I would
cleaning up.
hope they have that much self-awareness. But
No, because sometimes it's the people around you don't really tell you that. They rather lie to you and tell you good at it.
Yeah. I genuinely felt I didn't know how good I was at it, but I felt I was decent at least. I wasn't below 5.
Okay, so let's go there. So when was like your first moment where you're like, yo, I could do this shit?
When I went to, I hope I don't mess up the group. Outsiders, I think they are. Yeah. No, Usual Suspects, sorry. Usual Suspects.
Are they like party promoters?
No, they're a group from out of Toronto.
Okay.
There's one guy that I know from the group. He was around when I was around because he was a friend of my older brother's. And there was a party at 3181 at Markham and Eglinton down in the basement. And we were down there and they were doing the thing. Yeah, in Scarborough.
Basement parties,
Yeah, oh yeah. And he had, so we were in there and the DJ was there. And I was kind of messing around, just writing stuff down and whatever. And they were doing the freestyle behind the bar. And then they'd call me Junior because most of them were all my brother's friends. I just was going because, I don't know, I was there.
Yeah.
So they're like, Junior, you're going to go rap? You're going to go rap? And I was like, all right, well, let me try something. So I went and I did a couple things on there. And I remember the guy from Usual Suspects, he goes up to me and he goes, man, you're good. You should stick at it. So I stuck at it. And that's
Hey, what year was this?
That's big.
this is like probably 89.
89. So you weren't Choclair yet?
No, I don't even.
So-
I think I was Chiron B.
There we go. That's
So
what
what made you decide to call yourself Choclair? Because that name right there, when you hear that name, that's respect right
the
there.
ladies gave you that name, right?
No.
The man said no.
I remember this.
He went to Montreal one day. He's like, "Yo, Choclair, Choclair."
Choclair.
Here's this. Okay, so when I was in high school, I wasn't with the cool kids, but I was just above the little grain of dust.
Yeah, we
of
all are.
Not
Yeah,
being not being the uncool kids.
Yeah.
You got a little clout, yeah.
I don't even know where it came from.
Yeah.
Like I remember
all
going
are.
into grade 9. I was working at McDonald's. My forehead's pimp. Oh my gosh, that picture.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, we're
Someone's gonna find that.
find the picture.
We will find that photo.
We
We will
will.
find it.
man, and and I'm in high school, and all your friends from elementary school, because I went to I was right at Morningside in Lawrence.
Hold on. What intersection did you grow up on?
Okay,
I'm so sorry for interrupting.
Because everybody wants to know so they can say,
What
Choclair
intersection-
live on my
what
block.
intersection- Yeah, what intersection
Okay,
was it?
I will claim 3 sections. I will claim Morningside and Kingston.
wow.
I went to the daycare. That's actually my cousin's daycare, Morningside Daycare. I went there. My brother went there. My younger
That's
brother
why I
went
stayed
there.
Morningside Kingston. Okay.
Yeah, so I stayed there. I stayed Markham and Eglinton, but just over the train bridge past Cougar Court.
Okay.
So just over the GO tracks, Markham and Eglinton, and then Markham and Shepherd, Malvern right there.
Malvern, big up the
Yeah,
bird. You
Malvern.
already
He's
know.
a
I have
hood
a couple of
In
people.
those 3 places, I probably spent at least 8 to 10 years in each one of those places.
Oh, wow.
So I was the last one would be was Malvern, and then I moved out.
You do have a Malvern swag, though.
I don't know.
Shout out to my boy Late Night Leno, like this right here, boy, right here.
Oh man. Yeah.
So how did you meet Julie Black?
No, hold on a second. You were talking about high school and
Not being popular.
Oh yeah. Oh, how I got the name
Sorry.
Choclair.
I went all over the place, but yes. please bring it back.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't popular, but I knew some of the popular guys. Just from whatever. And there was this place called The Pit. And then I also knew all the people that everybody's calling now to help them do their taxes and sit there and figure out ITs and all this stuff. It's like, oh, you paid attention? Yes, I did. I need some help. I need you to go and something's happening to my bank. Oh, let me just bring out my laptop. Yeah, I got this program. Anyways, so one time for some random reason they asked me to go to Scarborough Town Center with them, and I think it was Toonie Tuesday, and I'm like,
Toonie Tuesdays. The
Yeah.
burger you could have at those times. It was you can have the burger or the chicken for the $2. Are you talking about those times?
the movies too.
Yes, for
The
$2.
movies at the
I remember them tell you
The Broke Negro Tuesdays.
you go watch a movie.
You
For,
can tell I'm greedy. The first thing I thought about was food.
but they do have the
This guy
2
went straight to KFC.
Yeah. But yeah, like they asked me to come out, and I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. Like, you know, but I didn't have really any clothes. Like, you know, like I'm just trying to find my Sunday's best on a Thursday after school night. And so we go, because we wore a uniform. Actually, yeah, that's right. We didn't change because we wore our uniforms, and we were like the proud uniform school wearers. Like, you know, like the ties all Will Smithed out, our jackets are inside, but we got it. But we
Got the
Pope
girls.
John Paulers. We're popers.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, anyways, they meet up with some girls, and I'm like so jealous. I'm like, they live the life and everything like that. And then I go back to school the next day, go home, back to school the next day. They're all in around where the phones are, and they're like, hey, you. I think they actually said, hey, you, because I don't think I had a name yet, right? And they're like, hey, you, come. And he put me on the phone, and there's these girls on the phone, and they're like asking to try and recognize. I was like, oh, I wasn't the chubby dude. I wasn't the light-skinned dude. I was the dark-skinned dude. And the guy's like laughing at it about, yeah, you're the chocolate guy. You chocolate.
Wild.
And I said, and then I was like,
In Toronto, when did this happen? What year is this?
This has got to be like 89.
God
Maybe
damn.
90.
Damn.
Around there. And
Dark skin wasn't in yet.
Yeah,
No, it was not.
You were too dark. You were too dark.
No, it was
right?
not.
Unfortunately.
That's what. You're a chocolate guy. You chocolate.
It was
I
a white
remember
dude, right?
No, it was my black brethren that I was out with.
Definitely black.
Yeah,
Definitely
Your
black.
own
the white
man.
guy's not going to say that.
It's your own
And
man.
he was light skinned. He was light skinned.
Colorism is real.
It is.
Yeah, caramel sort of. Maybe
Yo,
Oh,
was he
more on the
that's-
light side.
Yo, was he lighter than Stewie?
He's probably about Stewie. Yeah, he's probably Stewie right there.
It was Stewie.
It was Stewie.
Yeah.
It was Stewie.
Yeah.
Yo.
So they go, yeah, you chocolate, and I remember that line because it started and ended so randomly. Like, yeah, you're the chocolate guy, you chocolate, and just hard stop right there. And I was like, yeah, I was the chocolate guy. Choclair, as light as air. And then the guy comes over, grabs the phone from me. He's like, yo, this guy trying to get slick. So then we walked out.
I hope you're still not friends with this guy.
We are actually.
Hey!
So we walked, because he wasn't punking, but he was leveling up.
He's just being a little racist.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Well, yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh no!
I remember high school,
Low-key.
right? Like it's just this high school. He's, I think he was a grade older than me, so he was pulling all
I got it.
pulling all the cards, right? You know, whatever. So then we go to this area called the pit, and then that's where everybody gathers. Either they're skipping class or the cafeteria is right there, whatever. They play their dominoes, jackass, all these games that they're playing. And then so the crew now, that the cool kids come from the phones, and they all come and sit in the pit. And he was like, yeah, look at this guy. He went on the phone, tried to go and lower his voice like Barry White, telling my girl that he's Choclair, as light as air. So everybody started clowning me and calling me Choclair, as light as air.
Wow.
So everybody's calling, but then I just owned it.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, I'm Choclair, man, Choclair.
I love that story. Hit that.
Boom,
Hit
bang,
that.
bang,
I
bang,
love that
bang,
story.
bang.
This was, what year is this?
This is like 89, 90,
When did you set the label again? 95?
95.
This is completely off the rail. What was the atmosphere of Toronto hip hop back then?
When I started the label,
Yeah.
or when I was?
We started the label.
Oh, I was like,
Because like right by then, it was Maestro who made it. It was Mishi May who made it.
there was Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors who made it. What was the atmosphere then?
I think on the outside it was more. That's not it. There's better hip hop than what's being displayed, because it was like the polka dot time. So everybody was doing polka dots and the steel on the front of the shoe, and you know the Janet Jackson nasty steel on the front of the hats. Like it was like a rear, and then it was the cross-colored nation with the tie-up hat that Tretch used to wear from Naughty by Nature. You know
exactly.
yeah. So like, but that's what we were seeing. People who were like in the hip hop, you know. But what they were putting on Much Music, and unless you had a satellite, you know, you weren't getting BET or anything like that. You know, you just got Rap City and Soul. I think by then they started taking off Soul in the City. So you had Extend the Mix, then the Mix, and then that was it. Those were the only 2 hours
Yeah.
And then they cut Rhapsody from an hour to a half hour. Then they put it on at 10 o'clock. They put it everywhere where we would miss it.
Master T's Rhapsody.
Not really. He was more of the mix, but Master
The
T
mix,
did
yeah.
a lot to do for the mix. He did a lot. He did a lot. So the atmosphere was like everybody thought we were B-rated.
Yeah.
You know, like around that time, everybody would, you know, they used to try and play. They're from somewhere. We would go in a Caravana. People would try and throw on an American accent
Wow.
because they would
They
try to
still
pick
do
up.
Have
that.
you ever done that before?
They still do that.
Some pum pum?
They still do
No,
that.
You've never done that before?
no,
Yo,
man.
come here, shorty. What up? Yeah.
I would because I
They
would
still
try
do
to
that.
speak French and sound German,
That's it.
and I try to sound
You
like
get away
from
with
Tennessee.
it. Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris.
Yeah, you get away with it. You get away with it. Yeah.
I'll try to sound like Texas, but sound like Kansas.
Oh Lord.
Like, and I'll say I'm from Texas. And
Yeah,
like,
we
so-
didn't really have our own thing. We
didn't have our own thing.
identity.
Hold on. What do you mean we didn't have? So you
Back
tell
in
me-
'95?
you tried the American accent back then?
Of course.
And you guys still do it.
I told
the
guys
camera.
I'm from
Look-
East Orange,
You
New
guys still
Jersey.
do
Look at
it.
the camera.
Yeah.
Look at the camera.
But
Let
y'all
her-
still
let
do
her-
it.
let that
What are we
raw
talking
find you.
about?
No. I mean, that was decades ago.
Oh.
But yeah, like, no, it was a thing.
But
It
you
was a
guys still
thing.
do it.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's still a thing.
I had a friend. One of my friends used to do it all the time, and he was a huge Puffy fan. So he would dance like Puff Daddy in 112 and 112 days and total days, the shoulder bop or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And that's how we would do, like right by the truck, and just
Absolutely.
and
So
just
he
do
found
of this
all the
stuff.
baby moms. Like what happened? All his baby moms after the club.
You know what?
Like,
He
what
was
happened
he
all
was
that?
very and all the kids out there be the same too. He was very careful. He always strapped it up, and he always told. For some reason, he always told me about it too. He would always be like, because he's like, you know, I get down a lot of chicks, right? It's like, yeah, it's like safety first, and I don't know why he just pulled out this condom out of his pocket or something like that. He's like, because you never know when it's gonna happen, and then 6-7 hours later, I didn't know where he was. He calls me the next morning. Man, so I met this girl, right? It was over at
She took me home.
Yeah, and we were at Rib Fest.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I went to get some ribs and this girl, and then all of a sudden we were over in her house, and then he's telling me all the stories, and then that's why my mind gets vivid in the lyrics.
I just want to briefly get back to Knee Deep Records. What was the first release on your? Was it Father
Very
Time?
important.
It was Father Time in 21 years.
Father 21 Years was the B-side.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Father Time like actually at that time, but I don't really remember 21 Years.
See-
I didn't hear it till like later.
You know what? And that is the funny story, because it was doing what it was supposed to be doing, which was taking up space. You know, because Father Time was our push. You know, we had 2 different versions of it on the vinyl. Like I literally had, so on the first side it was Father Time instrumental. I think we even had an acapella on there. And on the B side, it was the Father Time remix instrumental, 21 years instrumental. So I literally had the bottom quarter of the panel.
And 21 Years, very impressive. You were talking some stuff on there. Like that was like one of the more vulnerable records I've heard from an artist from Toronto. You're talking about, I think, your parents not being together or something like that.
Yeah.
You may have touched on drugs.
Yeah.
Maybe
Just like,
depression and just like real life shit.
yeah, because that and the funny thing is that I released that when I was 20. Yeah. So I was like, and the only thing is because 21 years sounded better than 20 years.
Yeah.
20
it
years
does.
sounds like
Absolutely.
a sentence.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason. So I upped myself for 1 year, and yeah, I just went through it. 21 years of my life gone by. You know what I mean? And I just go and I just talk about the stuff that was happening where I was growing up. You know, like when I talk about stealing holes from the golf course, like there was the Scarborough. What was it called? Scarborough Golf Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like my building backed into it. We used to go and hop the fence, and then we had a fort in the bushes. And then all the men, they would throw out their dirty magazines by the dumpster. So we would grab like the Glow magazine and Babes and stuff like that. I don't know. We just go off in the fort, steal golf balls. It's mischief stuff, right? Just doing kid stuff. But yeah, but like, so I'm just talking about like, that's what's going on here. Yeah, this is what's going on here. Oh, you know, this is why everybody, like Nathan Phillips Square, things happening over there. You know what I mean?
Very vulnerable on that record. And I got to commend you because during those times, it was very, I want to say it was heavy into like the tough guy talk. You didn't feel any pressure in like trying to conform to like what the Americans were talking about or what they were saying? You were just comfortable in your own skin at
I was
20
just
years
like,
old?
well, it was probably more subconscious as I hear it, than I can understand it now, is that for me, I just wanted to be like, you know, because I was like, I wasn't a battle rapper like how you see battle rappers today. You know, like the battle rappers, you didn't have, and this is no anything, you didn't have like a month to prepare. They just come to your school and be like, there's somebody here to check the battle, to check the rapper in the school. They used to come from Dunbarton and Pickering for some reason. That's where I know Naja from. And then he ended up coming to the school. We were like, yo, you're our enemies. You're my ops. my rap ops.
Trigger word.
That's his trigger word right there. That's his trigger word. Op. The word op is his trigger word right there. Be careful.
But yeah, no, but he came to my school, and then that's how I came up. So, you know, but 21 years, I just wanted to be real. You know, because I believe like with realness, you'll get longevity, you know, because they don't have to figure out what type of style you're going to do now. You're just going to be what you liked from the first place. And the one day I was listening to 88.1 and they just finished playing for the 100th time, Father Time, because that song went big.
It was crazy.
It got signed to Warner Brothers, and he was doing soundtracks. I don't know what ended up happening, but when Arnold was doing the Batman, Iceman, he has this song called Freeze. Oh, it's an amazing song.
Hold on.
Yeah, he was on it.
Father Time got Saukrates signed, and Saukrates had a song called Freeze that was supposed to be on the Batman soundtrack.
Yeah.
With Batman with? Oh, where he played
Arnold.
Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. And the song was called Freeze.
Michael Keaton Batman, by the way.
Wow. Where's that track?
Michael Keaton
I don't know. They
Batman.
didn't, for whatever reason.
Saukrates, where's the song?
Oh, that song is amazing. Like that, songs like Action, and like there's just so many.
Okay, we gotta find it.
We will find it.
Yeah.
We will find it. And actually, you will find it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Everybody, shout out
he
to
didn't
yo,
did he
shout out
release
to
it?
No, he never
my
released
mans.
it. He never, because it was I think the movie was being done by Warner Brothers, and he was signed to Warner Brothers, so it was like some connection going on. So they may have owned whatever they may have owned.
Okay.
So, and if they chose not to use it, then you know. But that was it. And then I was listening. So Father Time just finished playing. And then DJ X was on the thing, and then somebody calls in when they used to take live calls, and somebody said, "Hey man, you know, like the Father Time is great and everything, but you really need to check out this Choclair kid on the other side." And then I remember because I was listening to the radio at this exact same time, and DJ X was like,
What year is this?
This is probably 96, late 96.
Okay.
And then X was like, "Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we really haven't really gave a lot of attention to this B-side track from this guy," and he's butchering my name on Choclair.
Choclair.
Yeah.
Is this
chocolate
Canadian? This jockey?
Yeah, DJ X.
Canadian?
He didn't butcher it that bad, but like, because I at that point I sort of knew him, but I know him like I know him now. But yeah, like he was just butchering the name a little bit, and he's like, "Let's turn this on. This is 21 Years by Choclair," and that's the first time I ever heard that song live. And then for whatever reason, it took off, and everybody was like, "This 21 Years track." Then DJ Premier puts it on his Reality Check 101 record. Then everybody thought DJ Premier did it.
Yeah, but this guy's so humble. You literally dropped 11 albums.
Yeah.
From 95 through to 98.
11 albums?
Not
11
all my albums, but like I did drop other people's records.
Okay, yeah, because of your label,
Yeah, because of the label.
Yeah.
But like that's even part of the story there. It's like, so once 21 Years blew up and Father Time was already gone, but all of a sudden literally people would be like, "There's a B-side?"
Wow.
And then they would check it out, and then it started catching attention. So then now I'm starting to meet some people in the industry. I met Craig Mannix back then, and Russ Hergert, who would be a guy key in the situation. Mike Z and a bunch of other people. I started meeting them because I started, like the record's out. I'm going to showcases and handing out stickers when you're allowed to do that back then. Now you get your sticker caught somewhere, they come in, they just sue you right away.
Hold on a second, okay? Because DJ Premier, probably one of the dopest hip hop producers
Number one.
ever.
Or, top 5.
He puts your song on his mixtape. What is that like? What's going through your head at that moment? Like,
Bang, bang, bang.
That right there.
Right there, bang.
Because the funny thing was, so when Sox was signed to Warner Brothers, yeah, because he had a budget. So when we would go to New York with him, and he had town car, they give him chips, right? And he'd be like, yeah. So we would just drive around in limos and going nowhere, like with nowhere to go.
Yeah,
just like parked up on 42nd Street, like where all the creeps are, and then just be
in New York.
Yeah,
okay.
in Manhattan.
Yeah, Manhattan, right there, Times Square.
Where all those because that's what I wanted to. I wanted to do. The LL Cool J with the apple in the shot.
Yeah.
So
my
that's
God.
why we were on 42nd Street, because I was looking for, and I even bought an apple. I even bought an apple. I'm not even lying.
You did not.
I did. I did. Yeah. So
There's so many bodegas in the area. You can grab an apple real quick.
yeah. I bought one, but I forgot how much it was. It was like $1 or something. I don't know. But so we were walking around and we're like going into all these stores, right, trying to see if they have like that section. Like they'd have like where you could watch a movie on your own type thing. I was like, no, I want this thing to go up and then come, and I want to doing it well, like, eating my apple while I'm watching it. That's my whole purpose. Anyways,
Yo, is that song in your top 100 songs of all time? Doing it well, 100 songs.
It depends. It is depending on what playlist I'm playing.
yeah. It's
Like-
for
like-
a specific mood.
Yeah, it's
It's
not,
in my top 100, but
it'll be in my top 200.
Yeah.
Oh, 200.
But maybe not 100.
Yeah.
I'm billboarding it right now.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Maybe if you're with that special someone, it'd probably be 89.
Somewhere like
See,
that.
100 right
something
there.
like that,
It's
you know.
100.
Top 100, yeah. It all depends on scenario and playlist.
Yeah.
But we were in New York, and then so we had a limo for the night. We didn't know where we were going, and by chance we bump into DJ Premier and Alchemist. So, and they're just coming out of their Land Rover, rough, rugged Tim boots, everything coming out, and we were all just coming out of this limo because we were just so green, right? Like we were just down there, like Sox got all this money going on, and we got limos driving around in New York, and here comes Gangstar and Alchemist. Like that's Mobb Deep.
Wow.
And that's how you started your relationship with him too.
Yeah, well, we look really corny coming out that limo.
Yeah.
Premier. We didn't do it like that. I'm exaggerating a bit, but I'm sure it looked like that on his side.
And he was receptive. You guys chopped it up?
Yeah, we chopped it up and talked and everything like that.
In fact, you have a couple of tracks with him, an album.
With Premier?
No, Gangstar.
No, I just had the one song I did with him. The Bear Witness, just the one song. But yeah, we were cool and anything. And he knew about Sox because Sox record was pumping hard in New York too, right? And everything like that. So, and I was like, like blah, blah, blah. And then we just got together. But I thought we made a bad impression. But then when I heard that he put me on his mix, I was like, oh, word. And then became a big thing was when they put me on the sample.
What did he sample?
Keep It Live from Just a Second.
On what song? What song?
Oh, jeez, this is so bad for me right now.
Okay, we'll come back.
Yeah, it's on the on the hard.
So he sampled you
in the on the song Keep It Live. Yeah, that's what they sampled. And I remember Much Music doing the 3 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and they play the video from Gangstar, me, and maybe another Gangstar
You
video.
must have lost your mind.
Oh yeah, I was excited.
Oh my god,
very excited. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm like, man, like Premier is playing me. Premier, and then Premier is doing the Nas's. He's doing J. Rue, the Damager.
At that time?
Yeah, it was him. It was him and Pete Rock,
bro.
Okay, now I have to jump around the subjects and all that shit. Is this when you met Julie Black?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So so here it actually goes right into it, right there. Here's it's like a good slick slide right there. So yeah, so then he samples just from a record from me from Just a Second, which was the part that says "Keep It Live." So then now the reason that came out is because now after the success of Father Time in 21 years, because now the records now has longevity because people are just catching on to the B side. So like we were pushing that record for like a year, like a year, a single. Because all of a sudden, this place wants the 21 years and this, because first it was Father Time, then it was 21 years. So then now everybody, and now we're meeting all these people in the industry, and they're all saying, man, so what's up with Knee Deep next? Me and Dave look at each other like, I don't know.
We didn't think that far ahead. Yeah.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? He's like, I don't know. Like, because now I'm thinking I'm an executive. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I just put that
I
song
saw
out.
it in your eyes. You had it. You were the executive.
Yeah, I was like I'm behind the scenes, but we have no artists. What are we going to do? I guess I could put a couple songs together. Okay, so then I did Just a Second, which ended up getting sampled by Gangstar. And then I always heard about her. At this point, I know Cardi, but I've never met her. I've seen her because Cardi would invite me to like some of his parties and whatever, where DJ X, Little X, would just be sitting there drawing pictures, like just doing animation, like live throughout the night. He's just drawing on this big white screen. Right, yeah. So before he went off to New York, started working with Hype Williams, and now Mr. X, Dr. X, DJ X, whatever. Not DJ.
This is
He's another brother we need to have onto this part.
history.
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr. X, Little X. I call him Little X, but he's probably Mr. X now. Or
He's
something.
Mr. X. He's the X.
X, yeah. And he would be sitting there doing it. So I would see her there at those shows. So Day knew her because he was already working with Cardi, and because Cardi was working at the same studio too, and Sox was there, and Julie would come in and out, and stuff like that. So we were like, so I did Just a Second earlier in the day, and then in the evening, Julie comes over. So it's the first time I'm meeting her in person, and she knew of me just because of the circle.
Their circle, yeah.
Which is why we called ourselves the Circle, because we were just circle of friends. And so she knew of me, but never met me either. So we were sitting there, and we were in the studio, and after that break beat on the What It Takes comes in, the first part right there, it just opens up, and then Julie starts singing. So she just belts what she did on that record there. She just belts it out, and I'm just like floored. I'm like, I've met people that can sing, cool. But the strength.
She could sing.
She has sang.
Yeah. And I'm like sitting there, like you can hear it on a record, but then when you hear it in your face, you're like, oh, please. Like, you're saying to yourself, oh, for them, like, oh, don't crack. I was like, crack your voice or you go off pitch or something. I wasn't even saying that. I was just sitting there in amazement, like,
wow.
And then she did all of that on that thing. Little X came back from New York. Because then we went for a grant and we got a video grant. Little X
For which
came
video?
for What It Takes.
What It Takes, yeah.
So we went and did it. X came back from New York, and then again, like I was saying earlier, like they used to think we were like B-rated.
DMX?
Mr. X.
Mr. X.
You need to stop drinking. Like,
Drink some water.
Stop
Get
it.
some water.
My
Get some water in
God.
your system, baby.
This is
That's
tragic
actually
right now.
that'll be blurred out.
Okay,
Go ahead. X. Whenever I hear X,
Yeah. Okay,
sorry.
DMX. Yep.
Yeah. So he came back, and like I was saying, like before, like they used to think everybody that was involved in hip hop in Canada was B-rated. Right? So X now just comes back from working with Hype Williams, and nobody's giving him a shot at a video because he wanted to do videos. So they knew X before I did. I remember, this is another side story, but I'll tell you after.
Yo, honestly, we're gonna have to have you back because
Yeah,
yo,
we're
No,
the
we're
stories-
good. We good. We
We're
good.
good?
We good.
Oh my god.
There's some yeah.
Good.
So then, so we came back and I did it with Rage, and then the second part of the video where me and Julie are actually on. It was actually Ward's Island, but Center Island. That's the whole island to me is Center Island. I don't really break it up.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Little X did that part, and that was Little X's first production video shoot he's ever done.
What year is this, sir?
This is 96.
Okay, so are you basically saying you?
No, I didn't
Put
do.
him
I
on?
didn't
I told
do.
you,
No,
I
no,
literally
no. I
said
didn't.
to
I
you.
didn't put any.
I
I didn't
No,
put
no,
him on.
not
I
like. But you
literally
gave him a
said it.
chance.
I told you.
You gave him
I
a
told
chance.
you.
Can I finish
This guy
Can I
was
finish my
there.
question?
He
Can
literally
I
started
finish my
everybody's career.
You
in the
gave
city.
him a
Can I
chance. You
finish?
gave him a chance when others weren't giving him a
Yes,
chance.
yes.
Can I
That,
finish
I
That's
like
what
that.
it was.
I like that
Right?
phrase.
You.
I
There
like
you
that
go.
phrase.
I been showed you.
There you
man.
go.
Listen, let me
He
finish my
started
question.
them all.
Okay,
He put-
hold on.
The man's like, I didn't put them
I
on.
I wasn't even gonna ask about Little. I wasn't gonna ask about DMX.
Everybody.
Oh my!
man.
I cannot.
I was gonna ask.
Shots fired.
Would you? So, are you basically saying that you discovered
No,
Julie Black?
no.
You would get credit for that because that was
Well,
my
because
first time.
because you know what, we were all undiscovered, so we were all like nobody.
You're the big dog who had the label.
Nobody knew. Yeah, but
that-
nobody knew what I was
Hold
going
on
to be
a
able to
second, but
do.
your video with her wasn't your first video with her.
Yeah,
I mean, was it your first video? I mean,
that was my very first video.
that was your very first video. Okay,
See?
yeah.
And then that video went on, for me, that song went on to win my first Juno.
Bang,
So,
bang.
so we ended up, because we released that, I think, December of 96.
Helly Hansen jacket.
Helly Hansen jacket.
Loved
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. All
First time I
that.
saw you with that jacket, I'm like, I want one of those.
Oh, yeah.
It's still fly today too.
Oh, I'd
Still fly today
I'd
too.
sleep in
And
that
he still
jacket if I
fly.
had it.
See,
It's still
look,
fly
back
today,
then
too.
till now, you still fly. Look at you,
wow.
swagalicious.
Okay, so Needy, what did you? Okay, because we know Choclair the artist, but Choclair the executive. What was released on Knee Deep? Like what records?
So we did Father Time with 21 Years. We co-released Cardi's first record, Hustlin' with Capitol Hill. I think it was Hustlin', and I'm trying to remember what was on the.
Told you.
What was on the
No,
other side?
so
you're
humble.
right, man. You're right.
so humble.
Thank you.
There was
You
a
have to give
white
yourself
label
a
record
bomb.
called that Sox did called California back in the day, and he used the D'Angelo "You're My Lady" beat on it. So that was the way of bootlegging back in the days, is that you would just white label it and put it out. And just-
Socrates, California. I got to.
yeah, Socrates, California. We had this record called Mad Fiber where we put out this track with me and Frankenstein called So I. There's a video for that.
Love that joint.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
Shout out
good.
to
It's a,
Frankenstein. Oh, my
and then
God.
you'll see in that video, Julie Black's in the video. Like everybody,
Yeah.
like.
Sorry, continue. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying it's like that's how we all moved back then. Like we were
Yeah.
just
You guys were literally the
Yeah,
circle.
The circle. It was like, oh, you going in the studio? At least 2 or 3 of us are just coming, not because of anything other that we just wanted to be in the studio. And yeah, and then it. Holy, the story's like almost like, and that takes us into '97, which takes us into
Ice Cold?
Northern Touch.
Northern Touch.
So I have a question. Sorry, baby.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question. What does it take? Because you're an executive now. This ain't the artist. We're separating the two. Now you have on your executive hat. What does it take to release? Because I know with a lot of when people think that, because I'm a tough artist, anything I put out is going to sell. So as an executive, you obviously have to make that executive decision and say, yeah, that's it. So what kind of ear, because I know you have that ear, what do you look for in an artist in order for you to release that track?
Okay, now
question.
is it the artist or is it the track?
Both, because sometimes I believe sometimes it's the overall package, sometimes it's the sound, sometimes what do you look for in an artist when you look at a track and say that's it, we could drop that.
First thing, if I'm talking about the music itself, the first thing I always look for, and it's not one or the other, it's a wide range. I look at emotion. How does that track make me feel? Because I almost call it food for your soul. There's like, like,
It's a vibe. It's got to be
yeah,
a vibe.
like, like whenever, because there was a lot of rockers around me when I was younger. And I remember the Reeboks tucked into the shoes the tight jeans tucked into the Reeboks, the mullet with the hat with the mesh on the back and the foam in the front. And for some reason, they were wearing Public Enemy jackets. But they loved rock and roll, and whenever they went and talked to the girl or whatever, even though they hated these big hair bands, if they ever wanted to put an emotion on, "I'll Be There for You" from Bon Jovi was always that song.
This wasn't like 90s.
This is 88, 89.
Yeah.
"I'll Be There for You" from Bon Jovi. People would pretend that they wrote that. They would write it, and then the song became huge.
Emotions, yeah.
But like the song became huge, and the girl's like, "Remember this letter you wrote me with all these words in it? That's stinking Bon Jovi. He's singing it on the TV right now." Like, that was the thing. But like, that's what I look. I look for emotion. What if I'm in a mood? Like if I'm in a mood to party, right? The one time we went over to DJ X's house when I was getting more acquainted. That's right when Mace dropped that more problems,
More money, more problems.
And I remember, no, it wasn't. It was bad.
Bad boy.
Feels so good.
You
Feels
make
so
me
good.
feel
And
so-
X, I think he was a part of it because he's just playing weird. He's like, "Hey, yeah, well, you heard this new Diddy album?"
The little X is like.
Yeah, and then he
story.
played it, and me and Day are looking. It was like, "This is so good."
Yeah.
Like we were like listening to it because it made me feel like all of a sudden we're like drinking wine and like all of us just jamming. I forgot what we came there to talk about, but it's like that emotion. What is the music?
Drinking
Yeah.
wine.
Yeah. And I don't even.
Was it
really
red or
drink
white wine?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
You
That's
have
what
to remember that.
I believe it's probably red because
Yeah.
red usually hits me a little harder than
That's
the white
it.
wine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we came there to go and have a discussion. Next thing you know, we're listening to Puffy and the Family.
Yeah.
Or Bad Boy and the Family, whatever that record is called. And it was great.
So what year was that?
That would have been like 97 or something like that.
And you said that leads into Northern Touch, right?
So at this time, now I'm working at the daycare, Mother of Compassion Childcare Center at the back of Mother Teresa. Mm-hmm. So now my video's playing on TV, and like I'm watching some of the people that go to the school's kids because they drop them off in the morning, go do their classes.
And they see you.
And then they see me sitting there changing diapers and
You're like, ah.
come here, Camille. Ow. Like I'm doing all of that, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm doing all of that. And I worked with 6 months to 6 years.
Wow.
And then they gave me, because I was one of the only guys working in a daycare system, it was just a summer job. My mom worked there, and she got me the job there for a summer job. But then because the kids were meshing with me and everything like that, and I guess I was a stable male figure that they would see every day, because a lot of times, especially early 90s, there was a lot of single mothers. Like I'm sure it's crazy even now, but like 90s was it was they in and out. Like, and then there's just the mothers. So I would see all the mothers come over, and they were like, "Hey, weren't you on TV? Weren't you on TV?" And I was like,
trying to be all modest
and humble.
"Come on, put on your jacket." Yeah. And so then I'm at work, and so cell phones are just kind of coming out now, right? Like instead of the big block ones, when like
StarTech.
Like the little smaller ones,
The
something
LG phones.
Yeah, like the flip ones and stuff like that are starting to come out.
Blue screens.
But like it's not widespread. You're still paying for your minutes, right? Like you're still putting in the, like it's like a quarter almost every time you use it, a minute or something like that. So Big C and Saul Guy, who was the Rascals manager, calls me at work. I remember my boss coming up to me. So I'm sitting here, playing, whatever, Jenga with one of the kids. And like, hey, you got a phone call. I was like, who's calling? Maybe it's my mom. Because who's calling me at work?
Yeah.
So I get on there. I don't know how they got the number. And it's Big C and Saul Guy. And Saul Guy and those guys, and they're like, yeah, we have this track and boo, 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 and da-da-da. And the Rascals are on it. This new guy, Checkmate, I didn't know who he was at the time. He's on it. And there's a space there. And you and Thrust are going to do it. If you guys are cool, we'll do it. Yeah, I'm cool. And this is when they had to send you 2-inch tapes. So it was no emailing files. It was like, we're going to ship the tape.
Snail mail, 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks, and then book the studio at some place at Bathurst, and I'm forgetting if it's Bathurst and Spadina or Bathurst and no, Bathurst and Spadina don't mix. Anyways, Queen and Spadina or Queen and Bathurst. Sorry. So we go in the studio, and again, like how it always used to be, Cardi was with me, just because it was like, yo, I got to do this thing with Thrust downtown. Yeah, Saul's going to be there. Mastermind's going to be. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, come. That's just how it was. So me, I believe Ro Dollar was with me too. Ro was always with me.
Shout out to Ro Dollar.
Yeah. And Cardi was with me. So we pull up, we see Masterminds in the parking lot. We're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. So we go in the studio, and so like we hear the Rascals part and we hear Checkmate's part. So there's 2 spaces, one after the Rascals, one after Checkmate. And around that time, everybody wanted to be the anchor. Everybody wanted to be the last verse for some reason on a 4-minute song. Like, no, I want to be the first verse. We ain't gonna skip past that or something, But at that time, we all wanted to be the last verse. So me and Thrust, paper, rock, scissors, and I lost, and that's why he's last and I'm second.
Oh, wow.
So then I'm sitting there writing this thing, this part in the song, I'm just like, we notorious, and it's like whatever, and Cardi's there, and I was like, yeah, but like there needs more energy. So I go to Cardi, I was like, and Cardi was sick. Like if you look, like he had tissue in his nose and eyes running, and he's coughing on, like he was doing that. People get COVID rate all over this place, like he's sneezing, going off, nose, all whatever. And I was like, Cardi, let's figure something out with this. And he was like, well, what do you got? And I was like, we notorious.
So you're saying you wrote the hook?
Part of he wrote the hook, but we collaborated. Like the first lines, we know, like I wrote that part, But then Cardi brought it into, and I forgot how we came up with the name part, like Kardinal, Rascals, Kardinal. See, I'm even forgetting it right now. Rascals, Checkmate, Kardinal, and Thrust, Choclair. I don't know how I became the last name.
So hold on, I want to make sure I get this right. Was Kardinal supposed to originally be on?
No, it wasn't originally.
Yeah, you brought him in.
Yeah, I said, Cardi, go do the chorus.
Told you
because you have the energy.
Oh my
He
god!
doesn't-
Look at that.
I was like, yo, you got that energy that this track needs. And then he went in there, and then a couple weeks later, they're saying, oh, they're going to stripe it on the Cash Crop album, the Rascals album that they released earlier. And I think because, I don't know what the reason was, but I think because they were teetering on a gold record. And if this record was good enough, it'd get it over. So they restriped the record and added Northern Touch on it. And then Second Encounter, after What It Takes, did whatever. Well, Lil X is doing the Northern Touch video.
That is crazy.
So I remember talking to X on the phone about the video, and he was like, yeah, it's just going to be all in different colors. We're going to have like a green background, a red background, like you see how the colors are in the video. He's like, this is how we're going to go and do it. He's going, but you're the Chiznot. Oh, this goes towards the story with Choclair, because when everybody started getting comfortable calling me Choclair, the guys started getting jealous because now it's becoming a cool name. So they're like, you're not a Choclair, you're a Chiznotlet.
A Chiznotlet?
Is this your friend? The one who?
These are the cool kids that I'm.
So your friend is no longer being
The
racist. Now it's other
disrespect.
kids.
No, these are the same kids because now Choclair is cool. I'm Choclair.
I got.
So then they're like, you're not a Choclair, you're a Chiznotlet.
Chiznotlet.
awful.
I didn't even know what it was. And then,
That's awful. That's awful.
so then, but I said, yeah, I am a Chiznotlet because whenever your girl walks by, you say Chiznotlet.
Bob. I'm not even gonna lie. Bars. No, bring that back, please, bring that back. Bring that back.
So whenever your girl walks by, you'll say Chiznotlet. So then that's how I became the sexual Chiznotlet, Choclair the ill flower. Oh. And that's how the name came together.
Bars. That alone is a bar. Sorry, sir.
Yeah. So that's how the whole name came together. They made me chop it down to
We're
Choclair.
skipping too fast. We're skipping too fast because that video not only birthed the national anthem of Canadian hip hop, but it birthed one of the main
Oh, yeah.
video vixens.
Tying it right into the thing. See, look, this is a great, like, I'm on a toboggan just on the hill. It's going right into it.
It's flowing.
So I'm on the phone with X, right? And so I had to tell you that part of the story so you would understand this part of the story. So he's like, okay, because you're the sexual Chiznotlet, you're going to be the only guy with a girl in this video.
You guys noticed that?
Of course.
So he's like, I got this girl, Melissa Ford. She was M Ford. She wasn't known at that point, right? Like she's whichever. Like she's just like a hot girl that just, that's on the set. And Next just was like, you're gonna be with her. I was like, now remember, I'm not a cool kid, so I'm like, like little dots of sweat on my brow. I'm like, oh my god, this girl's hot, but like, just
The pressure's on.
baseball.
Yeah.
So she goes, so X goes and positions her on me, right? And I'm sitting here, and I'm wearing this.
It was the most sexual thing ever.
I'm hard like a what, right?
So he puts her on me, and then so we're shooting a couple stuff and doing whatever, and so then X, and I remember he always told me this when we were doing the What It Takes video. He was always like, always be extra animated because it shows up well on film. You might feel silly doing it, but if you do big moves and big passion faces and stuff like that, it looks really good on film. And we're shooting this in slow-mo and blah, 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 all this other technical talk. And I was like, okay. So he goes to Melissa, it's like, you ready? You cool? She's like, yeah. And she was cool. And then he goes to me, and I got all this sweat on my nose. Yeah.
Yes.
He goes,
Mr. X.
action. And then we're not making out, but like,
It looks like you're like,
we're like all in the face and this and on there and going, and it's like, cut. Everybody's like, damn. Walked out. But the good thing was that after that, we just became really good friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like we were friends until she moved to LA.
Yeah. So good friends that she was in your big single that came out in was it 99 or 98?
Rubbin?
No.
Let's Ride.
Let's Ride.
Let's Ride. Of course, Let's Ride.
Yeah. Oh,
she
yeah.
was your main girl on that.
Yeah.
Main girl on that.
So then after Northern Touch popped off and did what it did, I went on my first.
Did you guys know that Northern Touch was going to do what it would?
No, because DMX, the other X,
the right one.
He came. Jump in.
Allow me.
He came out with Where My Dog's At.
Yes.
And again, like I was saying, like around that time, everybody was, they kind of liked it. It was like but it would always be like, that's good for Canadian. Or the video looks good for a Canadian video or something like that. You're still pushing you down. Like you're still not
it's always
equal.
that caveat for Canadian.
Like,
Canadian standards.
It's good for Canadian standards. And so, so we didn't know. And then DMX is DMX is coming off of, and he's on Def Jam.
And that video's raw.
It's raw. He's raw.
God.
He's got the affiliations.
That video's crazy though.
So we thought that was going to drown us out.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah,
we were surprised. And all of a sudden, we're doing tours. That was my first name actually on a marquee cross-country tour. We did the Northern Touch tour. The Toronto one was at Opera House. Oh, man, it was so wild. Like, I was like, holy cow. Like, the shows that I'm always afraid of is that they're going to start booting. Like, this Canadian guy.
I was going to ask you, like, how was tour life back then? Like, I know it was booked, like, it be getting booked. Like, was there a time that you had to say to yourself, there had to be a time that you went on tour where you looked at yourself and said, yeah, this is it. Yeah, I made it. Like you knew what there was. Yeah, you understand? You know what I mean? Like you knocking him down. Look. You can tell by his face when he got to that city, and he got that. You feel me? You see? When he got to that city, he realized after the show. No more. After the show, he realized the line of bitches, females that were lining up to get their heads blown off that way.
That was for sure. Newfoundland.
What song made you every single time you stepped out? The female you knew for a fact that put you on the map for the females when it came to the females.
It has to be Rubbin.
Really?
You hear the song? Well, do you hear the title alone?
Yeah. Well, you got to. So
it does make sense, though.
Because I got in trouble at what's the two, Carlton or was it Ottawa U? I think it was Carlton. So I remember talking to Solitaire. So the album comes out, right? Like we do Let's Ride, the video's out. Mm-hmm. There's anticipation and whatever. So the album's out, and I'm doing a tour now with Roselle across Canada. So we stopped. I'm guessing it was Carlton. It's in the newspaper somewhere online. It was actually in the Ottawa Citizen or Sun or something like that.
What the hell did you do?
So, Jesus Christ. So I was getting a lot of flack because they were saying my lyrics were too sexual. Explicit. Ooh. Right? So Solitaire goes, it's like, man, well, what do you expect? Here we got, like in Canadian history, one of the most anticipated hip-hop albums from a Canadian artist.
Yes.
And what's the first thing you say when the record opens? I like my girls with their ass up, face down, pillow on the mouth so we can muffle out the sound.
Bop. Face down, ass up. I like that.
That's
what's up.
That's in the song called Ice Cold, and it's the first song.
Yeah.
First song. So we had like some women groups that were mad. They were thinking I was misogynistic and everything like that because I was rapping like that. I was like, oh my gosh, did you hear a Too Short record recently? Yeah. You're thinking that's hard?
Oh, were they Canadian?
Oh yeah, it was at the university. They had a whole they had to set up barricades. Yeah. And Solitaire was with us. I think Cardi was with us too. And we like walking in. But the best part about it was on one side of the barricade. So the tour bus pulls up. So on this side of the barricades, there's people protesting, saying whatever they're saying. Misogynistic, woman pride, power, whatever. On this side of the barricade, there's all these people that have shirts that say cock rocks.
No, wait.
Oh my God! Hold on.
And that's how we walked. And that's how we walked into the club. And it was all girls. All girls.
I gotta find that article. I had no clue.
I don't know if they put cock rocks in the article, but they'll say protest.
No, but just the protest.
Yeah, they'll say
part,
protest awaits Choclair at show of. Blah,
this is
blah,
like
blah.
way before Me Too.
That's big.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that was one time where I was like I actually have anti-protesters on my side. You know, like, okay, they're going to come and like, I'm thinking, just whatever they're going to say. They wanted to try and do a press. Like, remember, this is all in the amp of Ice Cold, right?
Yeah.
All this stuff. So there's a lot of media attention on me, everything like that. And they wanted me to go and make a statement and do this, that about the record. I was like, well, it's on the record. I can't even pull it if I wanted to.
No.
The record's already out.
Yeah.
You know, like
Can we stay on the Choclair, the executive, because during that time you were not only signed to Priority Records, you signed another deal with another label at the time. Tell us about like the navigation, like the paperwork and all that shit. Like that shit must have been such a headache for you
to do the Priority deal.
Yeah.
It was more internal. That's like I mentioned, Russ Hergert.
Yeah.
Back when I met Craig Mannix and everybody like that, Russ Hergert was the guy that said, I see something in you. I see something in you. And whichever. In 97, I recorded Let's Ride. And then I started talking to him. And then he goes, I don't care whatever you put out. Just don't do anything with this song until... He didn't tell me at the time, but it was like, until I get you the deal. But he didn't tell me that. He just said, until. Just don't do anything. So that's why songs like Flagrant came out and Bear Witness and all these other different songs, Northern Touch and other stuff that was in there. And then that's why that came out. And then Russ got me signed to Virgin.
Wow.
He was my A&R. Like what his plan was to get me signed. The first time that I ever have Cristal ever in my life. I saw the bill. It was a $7,000 bill. And like I'm sitting there. I'm
With
there.
Toronto?
At some place with food that I've never tried before. It was decent, but not flavorful. But the price, I just can't.
Overpriced.
Yeah, and it was all the corporate cars. I'm there with the president. My mom is there. We're all sitting down. I asked if I could keep the bottle because I've never had Cristal before. It's not really that great.
Yeah, it's all hype.
So I have a quick question. Going back to the Junos, right? Where were you and how did you feel when you heard that you were even being nominated for a Juno? And then how did you feel when that moment of your first Juno?
Okay, so, they say nothing's for sure, right? But the record company kept hyping me because we broke records. Like we were like, I think we were like debuted on the, I don't know. We were high in the charts.
Yeah.
And we sold well. I think we were the second record. Actually, one of the things that I remember when I was in LA one time setting up the Priority release and, I see Red and Meth walk in. So now I'm stargazing right now because I'm like, Redman's one of my favorites, right? And I see him walking in and he's taking the angle that he has to actually pass by me. And then I'm just like, okay, just be cool. But like if you could see somebody like, that you look up to and, hold in a high regard, you get a chance to say what's up. Like that's all I wanted, just what's up. It's coming in there. It's coming. I'm like, all right, man, just cool, bass in your voice, shoulders back, chin up. What's up, brother? I go to shake his hand. He goes, motherfucking Choclair. And I was like,
Wow.
He goes, you know how I know who you are? And I was like, why? He's like, because they just dropped the Blackout album. Because we #1 everywhere except Canada because of you.
Wow.
And then they go, and then they took me to the back. They're like, come to the back. And then we just started smoking.
Sounds about right.
So, yeah, I'm experiencing all these things. And so I'm at the Junos and, and I'm like, this feels good. But you never really know. I'm there with my mom, my grandmother. This one girl, this was probably the first real relationship I was with. So I invited, we're all dressed up and everything like that. So we're all out sitting at the table, and then they go like, "Oh, and best hip hop record." And when they played other songs, when they do the flashing of the screen and everything. So other songs come on, mine comes on, and you hear like, I don't know if it was the Virgin Music EMI table or not, but there was some voices clapping and everything. And then when they told me, and the Juno goes to Choclair, Ice Cold, because it was for. This was for What It Takes. The first one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is for What It Takes. I won the Juno for too.
What was the category?
Best rap recording.
Best rap recording. Got it.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then so then I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, this is amazing. And then so I'm confusing the two stories because the other one with the girl that was in Toronto. That was for Let's Ride. The Juno one, that's the one I went with my with my mom and my grandmother. And yeah, and then she
Special.
wanted,
That's
and
so cute.
yeah, my grandmother was like sitting there and be like, all right, so where's the after party? I was like, Grandma.
Yes, grandma.
Grandma's ready to turn up.
Yeah, grandma.
So you won 6 of them though.
Five.
Five?
Four, sorry. 4 Junos and 5 Much Music Awards.
Big
Wow.
up
Yeah.
your.
And Kardinal produced.
That's right.
How did that happen? Like, what's it like? He's doing a lot of production now. Like, was he always a producer?
Always was a producer, yeah. It was always between, you'd always try to get, Solitaire was just kind of coming up, but you would always try to get either a Sox or a Cardi beat.
Really?
Yeah, or Marvel.
Yes.
Marvel had like some off beats. Like there's a
Yes.
song I have called Brainwaves. He did that one.
You mean Kardinal Offishal? You just said Cardi B.
No, Marvel.
But you know, no, the man said Cardi B. I heard you say Cardi B.
Who said Cardi B?
We can rewind it.
No,
He's
Kardinal.
trying to get me back.
No,
him
brother.
bringing-
Yeah.
For him
No,
saying that
Choclair.
DMX is the best Canadian rapper.
Stop it.
Okay?
Choclair,
Stop.
stop. Choclair said
No,
Cardi
Choclair heard
B.
me quite fine.
I'll bring it back.
Continue with your
I'll
drink,
bring it
buddy.
back. It's Kardinal
Okay,
Offishal, right?
okay.
Cardinal Offishal.
Yeah.
You'd want a beat from Cardinal.
Yep.
Or you want one from Sox, or Marvel. Those were the 3 producers.
Yeah.
And they all had different style, all completely different. And
What made you decide to get Cardi's beat?
because we were sitting outside, it's not here anymore, but sitting out in front of the government. And
R.I.P.
R.I.P. to the government neck.
yeah. And, again, like we were all broke. So what we did was we pre-drank. We put it in, we put 2 Live Crew and Luke on It's Your Birthday, or one of them songs, Here, Lizard, Lizard. I don't know why I just like that Miami-based stuff.
It's dope.
And pop open the trunk, and then we would, because, like who got $100 to spend in the thing right there? Like, like we're still in school.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then, so we're listening to cassettes. Like Cardi, he put his beats on cassettes, and he'd put it in, I think I was in Sox's car, and then Sox would give a cassette and put it in, and like we were sitting there drinking, just getting ready to go in the club type thing. And so we're listening to the beats, and Kardinal, he calls me Latte for Choco Latte. So he'll be like,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Oh my God.
I feel like that deserves a pause.
Yeah, latte is smooth. So he goes, so he plays that beat, and I was like, oh man, I could rock to this one. He's like, latte. That's exactly what he said. He's like, man, you don't think the beat's too fast? And he's coming with that Eglinton West slang, right? Because me, Sox, and Roll were the only ones from Scarborough. Out of all of them, like Julie's from Jane, Marvel's from downtown, like Bathurst and area there, and everybody else is from Oakwood and Vaughan and West and West. So it's just me, Sox, and Earl are the only East guys. Like, oh man, so he's talking to me all in the way. He's like, yo, certain man. And that's why we call everybody certain man.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, certain man's got to do a certain thing right now, right? Yo, certain man with certain teams, like, gotta go politic the Steve with certain men.
Yeah.
And he goes, I was like, yo, man, just give it to me because I'll go over to Dave's studio and I'll go and do it and blah, 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 blah. He's like, all right, okay, so yo, Sox, when Shox goes in there and go and do it, make sure he does it because we don't want to see that he did some voiceover thing with some other man there going, he couldn't even keep up with the beat and he's going off
So
and
he
off
didn't
and off.
think he could handle the beat?
No, he didn't.
Wow.
So then I was like, all right, cool. And the thing was, is that Day had it there because he was recording there, because Cardi was recording there, right, and producing and bringing his stuff and setting him up in places and stuff like that. So then, so then I go in there. That's why Sox is at the beginning of the track.
Wow.
Because he had to be there. And the funny thing was that day we had a 1/4-inch reel to reel with 8 tracks and I think 8 ghost tracks, but you couldn't hear them because they would be like a ghost track. But it wasn't working. So Sox had to sit there with his finger in the pole reel to keep it up to speed. And then the monitor backfired. So the only reason the Atari Cubase system was working was if you had the monitor upside down.
And what year was this?
This is 96, 97.
Damn.
So like it was an Atari computer, but it only worked if it was upside down. And we were using Cubase with the
so
B
fun.
on it. The reel is not working, so we had to put our finger in it. And then he had like this thing, whatever, but that broke. So we had to use a bunch of clothes the jeans
God.
for our stop. Like, so we had to record it in his closet. And that's how Let's Ride came.
Jesus.
They say the best type of hits come out like of the basement, like when you're in
Wow.
the trenches,
Yeah.
when you're doing it.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's how Let's Ride came. It was all because Cardi thought it was going to be too fast for me. Then everything shut down that day. Man, you should have just. It was a whole like a whole bunch of hamsters in a gym thing going on at the same time.
And 20 plus years later, it's still a smash. People talk about that joint.
Facts.
All the time.
Shout out to Kardinal.
I'm on TikTok, like, man, they love that song. That song is timeless.
I never knew, and at some point I thought people would get tired of it. I remember talking with Wes, and Wes was like, he would ask me, he's like, "Oh, how did the thing go the other day?" Right? Like Wes, whenever we connect, it's always just like real. And he was just asking me, and he was like, "Man," and he goes, "Did you do Let's Ride?" And it was one show where I did not do it because I thought, okay, yeah, it's like 5 years, 6 years, and you want to really hear it. And then I remember him telling me, like, "No, man, some people just show up for that one song."
Yeah.
Facts.
He's like, he goes, "What's your favorite Biggie song?" Because I'm a huge Biggie fan. And I was like, man, and I got to see Biggie before he died in Buffalo with Looney's, Dina Howard, Naughty by Nature. One of them big rap tours that used to happen back in the day in Buffalo and would never happen here. And man, I was like, yeah, like I would love if he does One More Chance, the remix.
And you saw it live.
Give me
Who
one more
Shot Ya?
chance, Biggie, give me one more
Yeah,
chance.
or Who Shot Ya? Like, shoot, how old is that song now? Like 30
Right?
plus, right?
Yeah,
He could, if he was alive, he could still do it today, and I'd be
for
hearing
sure.
it for the first time. For
Guaranteed.
and that's what he told me. He's like, you got to remember, always do that song, because some people know your deep shit, like because they go through your albums and records and find these other things. There's some people that just know what's out there. That's just where they are. They're Billboard Top 200.
And were you at the North Star show? OVO North Star?
Yeah. I
And
was
you
there.
performed that record, I'm assuming.
Northern Touch.
No, Let's Ride.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had them hands in the air and putting it down on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And then when they hear the pianos come in, then everybody starts throwing their hands, and I have to go on the mic and I'll be like, "Yo, don't take your hand off the steering wheel. We ain't trying to crash. Get it back. Get it back."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you catch people's faces. They'll be like,
Oh my god!
like you're not actually.
And what was that experience like, man? Like, because obviously Jersey has that sort of freaking power and influence. He brought everybody out. Like, I saw the names on the flyer, but then when I actually saw who was actually there,
Everybody was there.
I was like, holy frick.
It was a great, and I believe a lot of people were saying it was a good time for him to do it. Because some people would be like, like when he does like his OVO Fest and like, how come so-and-so's not on it? How come so-and-so, like it's all these guys, like Wayne or whoever, right? And it was a great time to do it because people were asking about it.
Yes.
And I just got a call. I think it was Charlie B who hit me up. And
Shout out Charlie B.
yeah, and he just hit me up and told me about what they're planning to do. And then before I could say yes, there's a Canadian Legends flyer floating around on on Instagram. And that was great. And then being there, it was just like everybody you came up with, like Infinites in the background. Sean Desmond rocked the house. He rocked the house.
crazy.
There was so many secret Sean Desmond fans back in the day right there. Because when
They were all our fans.
when he
Yeah.
came out and did his
Huge
thing,
fan,
he got a really great response. And now he's doing his comeback thing now, right? Like I see him
coming
I
back,
see him now more
They need to be.
than I did
Exactly.
before that show.
Access,
And then Jelly's there and Mishy's there and
Keisha Shante.
Keisha Shantae's there and everybody, like just people you haven't seen in a while, and and like you almost forget their names and you feel bad, but you know their face, but you're like, man, I haven't seen you in 20
Salute
years.
to
How was
Trey.
that? How was the atmosphere?
It was all
backstage?
like, it was so much bromance going on. Like, I don't even know how much hugging was happening. Like, yo, bro.
It's a reunion.
You guys forgot about COVID.
Yeah, there was no COVID in the place. It was so packed back there. There was a couple of vents on ceiling, and you just catch people congregating underneath there because that's only where the cool air was. Like, you were sweating as if you were on stage. It was that hot up there because there were so many people, and everybody knew somebody of somebody of somebody, and it was a great vibe. It was a great, like, there was nothing. Unless something happened somewhere else that I didn't see. There was
Like that.
nothing negative about the whole night. No beefing with artists, between artists. There was no whatever. cut eye, side eye.
Yeah.
Or Super Cat used to say, no front teeth, back teeth, side teeth, up teeth, down teeth.
I would love to see the backstage footage of that.
Do you regret anything? Would you take back anything? Would you do over anything?
Yeah, I would have jumped. There's two things, because my brother, I remember years ago before Serato came in, he started telling me about DJ, because I used to DJ too. I have crates and crates of records in my brother's crawl space in his house, just because like I don't have any space for them, and I don't have a record player anymore. So I just store them up in his crawl space up where he lives. He told me a couple of years, like I think it was 2000 very early, before it came out, and he was talking about like, oh, IBM's creating this thing called Serato where you don't have to. And I was like, nah, people want to feel the DJs, because I'm talking like a 90s DJ. You want to feel the vinyl and everything. And he's like, and he was telling me I should get in on this and get in on that and blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't. And now Serato is what everybody uses.
Brother's ahead of his time, man.
Yeah,
he knew. He saw the vision.
Yeah, he's like that guy. He taps into those type of things, you know. And but I just didn't. So I regret that in a way. That's a little bit superficial and like in that way. But as far as regrets is on a personal side, I think I was more. I think I wish I was more beforehand as outgoing in the music, because that was like my escape, right? You know, like I wish I was more like that
on
the everyday.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Because on the everyday, like don't get me wrong, like if I say I'm boring, I don't mean like like nobody talk to me because don't go with him. He's Debbie Downer over here. Like stay away from him. But I'm like sort of boring in a way.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I like chill stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't necessarily go to, because I work in the clubs and shows and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily go to the club, but I'll meet you at Boston Pizza and watch a game with you.
Got it.
Do pictures and shot for shots.
Yeah.
And meet somebody at like that place, whatever. It doesn't even have to be Boston. It could be like some bar that, Frankie's dive hole.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you wish that you may have maybe enjoyed the moment more then and kind of just...
Because now I'm starting to enjoy my moments more.
Got it.
Right? But like then I was like, like I was still...
Yeah.
Just kind of, like I was just...
in
like,
your comfort zone.
In my comfort zone, like when people would, like when I was walking, I remember walking through Square One and somebody screamed my name from the other side. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like,
yeah.
To where like now, I remember a quote from Kanye back in the day where he was coming down this elevator and he says to himself, I got to remember this moment right now because this is the last time that I remain anonymous.
See, he's a genius.
So...
Told y'all.
He was.
You mean the guy who says I love Hitler is a genius? Or?
No, I mean he. Listen, I'm trying
I'm
to.
playing. He's a musical genius. I give him that.
Yeah, he had foresight, and I always remember that, and like I remember, and I don't always remember. I only heard that quote like maybe a couple of years ago or something like that, and so. Yeah, like I live, like I was telling you, I live in St. Thomas. I live in a small town with 50,000 people, just 25 minutes off London. And, I work with this guy. Oh, if I don't do it, they're going to kill me. Jumbo, you guys got to get the jumbo gear. These are these are my things. It's called Jumbo. That's my line there.
Yeah.
We're doing it now.
Jumbo.
Yeah.
Wait, Instagram is just Jumbo on Instagram?
It's under Saint. Well, if you hashtag Jumbo, you'll see it. But it's under Saint T Apparel.
We'll put it on the video.
We'll plug it.
Yeah, we'll plug it. We'll plug it for sure.
Yeah, we're doing. We're just. We've been kind of not behind the scenes, researching and developing over the past like couple of years, and now this year, we got the crop tops and everything, the shoes,
dope.
Just
panties.
panties.
Yeah, with a big.
Just know I'm a walking billboard for people. So
okay, well,
you got your model right here.
Right here.
Absolutely, absolutely, and so we're doing that, and So but that would be. I wish I was more outgoing like that before, because now I can do that. Now I could go into some bar and meet somebody, some guy that's sitting at the bar drinking, watching the game, and me and him could be best friends for that 2 hours or however long the game goes. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, like, he's buying me a shot, I'm buying him a shot. Who got the round? I'll grab the pitcher this time. He's grabbing it. We're best friends for that 2-3 hours, however long the game is. And then once it's done and I'm like, okay, you're going to get out of here. It's like, all right, man, it's a pleasure meeting you. Never see that guy ever again, but have one of the best times that I could ever have.
I've always heard that about you. I think it was Bishop Brigante who told me about you, and he's like, "Yo, Choclair is so cool. He's such a nice guy, so humble, so personable."
They get mad at me because of that, though.
Really?
Who's they?
Just friends, because like, I don't know. I just think I'm a
regular.
What, they think you're too nice?
Yeah, I just think I'm decent. I'm a
to the
decent human being.
Did you not see his face when we all stopped and looked at him? He was like, "Guys, I'm just a regular degler."
Mm-hmm.
But to us, it's like I said, like, I was starstruck when you came in. I was just like, "Bro,
I just like I am. I'm just like I just have a different job.
That's who you are, man.
You paved the way for a lot of artists out here. You paved the way, because Drizzy wouldn't be Drizzy if it wasn't for you.
How do you feel when you hear stuff like that? Because I'm sure you get it a lot.
See, I'm conflicted because, sure, did I do work? Yes. And I do remember, because I remember as the record, when Ice Cold was getting closer and closer to its release date, and me, Russ Hergert, and Thrust, imagine, Thrust was he was like my PR person. Mm-hmm. So me and Thrust, who I knew from before, is working at Virgin. I'm signed to Virgin. So Russ, Thrust, and myself are doing this cross-country pre-tour or pre-release tour, and then advertising for the cross-country Rozelle tour that I'm doing afterwards. Yeah. Because that was in November, right when the album was dropping, and this is like September, right when Let's Ride
99.
dropped. Yeah, 99. September, October. So we're just going whatever. And I forgot where I was going with this story.
I think what was the question? How does it feel hearing that, you're a legend and you paved the way?
You paved the way for
Drake.
For
and,
like the
and I think you said you're conflicted.
Because it was a big deal, and I forget why I went into that tangent over there, but the reason why was because now they're doing all the press, and they're like, the Canadian hip hop is in your lap right now. Mm-hmm. If you don't do good, you know what the industry's going to say? See, Canadian hip hop ain't supported. And then it stopped being fun.
Yeah.
Because now it became pressure, right?
Pressure, yeah.
Like, I'm just living my life, I don't know. I think I was like 22, 23 or something like that. I'm on the road. I'm going to places I would never go if I wasn't doing music. I would never be in Edinburgh, Scotland. I didn't even know there was an Edinburgh, Scotland.
Yeah,
with huge castles bigger than Castle Loma in Scotland.
I got a Wikipedia that I have no clue, but it sounds pretty impressive.
It's like I would never be there, even across the country in Canada, right? Like going to Banff and Canmore and up in the Muskokas and Timmins, like just places that I just never would have thought. And I remember, they just started saying like it's all on you. It's all on you if you don't do good. Wow. If you don't do good, so then it stopped being
took the fun out of it.
Took the fun out of it. And then I remember the Sunday. So your record back then normally would come out on a Tuesday, and then on a Tuesday you would get the results, like your sound scan. Everybody was interested in your sound scan. What are your numbers? Your first week numbers. Because then that usually dictates what the record company is going to do. You have good numbers on your first week, then they're going to push it. But they always look as the numbers will always go down, right? They're not going to go unless you're Mariah Carey and Christmas comes around and all of a sudden their Christmas album spikes, right? Like, wow, she just did another platinum.
That damn song.
That song, Christmas in Hollis, Run DMC, that song, every year, that song, that SoCan check for them is probably really great.
For sure.
Come August. Come August. And shoot, man, I'm losing all thoughts right now. The last thing I was trying to say was I forgot where I was going with the story.
It's okay.
Well, I want to ask you, how do you feel about the current scene in Toronto, and where the kids are doing it and how they're doing it right now?
Well, they're doing it in the way that we were doing it when we were 19, 20. Just different. This is a different time.
Yeah.
Right? It's a different time and frame of things going on. Like, like when I was 19, there was no email. Like, there was no access to how there's... Like, if I wanted to right now, whether he answers it or not, or it just goes into his junk mail, I can email Puff Daddy right now and send him my song.
Yeah.
Back then, I had to mail a package and hope that he gets it and even is interested in opening it and putting it on the tape and then going listening to it.
Are you vibing with it sonically, though? Are you vibing with the music?
Some songs, but like, I won't lie, there is a bias in me. It's like I grew up in 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
Like that's what raised
That's
me.
honest. Yeah.
So like when I hear, and I like the song. So when I hear the Special Delivery, the one, because I like the original. Then I like the remix with Ghostface and Craig Mack on there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Swizz Beatz does Special Delivery with Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
So then, like, my son's like, "Oh, did you hear this Lil Wayne one?" And I'm like, "Did you hear this G-Dep one?"
This is the original, son.
This is the original, and there's probably unless he made that beat.
Yeah.
Could, if it's not a sample, then there's
Probably is.
there's an original to that, and so. Like when you guys were talking earlier about like the Toronto and having a sound and everything, like yeah, there was a sound, and I think quick, fast, because the internet's so quick and everything's so quick. There was a moment when there was so much saturation of music, like you couldn't get through it all.
Yeah.
And then now you kind of just get it because like they brought in like Google Ads. So all you got to do is throw down $1,000, $2,000 if you got it, $5,000 on your video, get your views to 2-3 million. So then now you kick back on your monetization of the track on thing, so your money comes back.
Quick question, because I think we're probably running a little tight for time. Who is on your Mount Rushmore for Canadian rap?
Oh my God! Bang bang. Oh.
Okay, God. It would have to be then Maestro for sure, Mishi Me for sure, Ron Nelson. Artists?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Artists. Okay.
We got Maestro. We got Mishi.
Maestro, Mishi.
It's hip hop artist, by the way.
Yeah. I guess.
No, you're not gonna cop out. You gotta finish it. Let's go.
Don't
You
do that.
got it. You got it.
He's trying to be real humble right now. I'm waiting.
Well,
I'm
you're
waiting.
talking about me?
Yeah, I'm waiting. Like,
No, okay.
I put Dream Warriors.
Okay, that's fair.
ooh.
Yeah, and I should put this. I gotta start saying this. Don't put yourself. Like that's a good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dream Warriors and there's a toss up between the last one because you could put Ghetto, but then you could put Jelly, but then you can also put
In 3.
I feel. I know who you're missing.
What?
I know too. Maybe.
You gotta give us a name.
No, I can't say that.
You gotta give us a
It's
name.
subjective.
You gotta
It's
give us a
subjective.
name.
okay. So one more name.
So we got Maestro, Mishi, Dream Warriors. If you want to make it a top 5, you can make it.
No.
a top 5.
Rushmore.
Or we can
Rush-
go
Four.
Rushmore?
Four?
Okay.
Okay. Then I would, and it's just rappers. Who?
In 3,
Good.
2.
Black Mom wants to say DMX.
Look, this even came off. That's how you know
That's
it's real.
hilarious.
Oh, you know
That's
what?
hilarious.
As how things are moving and how his came today, I would then throw Cardi on there.
Ah, there it is. That's the name I was looking for.
Bro, I was saying in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Because he has a nice smooth come up. Like
Yeah.
he started as an artist, did this, went into music, did that, did this, became.
I was hoping you did it, and I was like, I hope you
waiting.
did it. Because
I
if he
was
did it,
waiting.
I know the internet probably would have ate you up. Right? They were like, you didn't put Cardi in there.
What?
Yeah, Cardi be up there because I've seen his progression and everything, and again,
Well
like
deserved.
and again, like how we all came up.
Yeah.
you know,
Well
like
deserved.
it's great to see, and it's great to see all those things that are going on with him right now.
Right.
All right. This is episode 513.
Wow.
We got Chisnock in the building.
We got to do a part 2.
We
We
have
can
to.
do part 3. We
That
can do part
was
4.
fun.
We can do part 5.
It was so
This episode, though, is finished. I want to say a big shout out to Brooklyn for coming out, being our third mic.
Brooklyn,
really appreciate
Brooklyn.
you.
Hopefully they don't can me, y'all.
No.
Brooklyn in the house.
Yeah.
Hey, and I want to shout out big shout out to Glory in the shot review.
Yes. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and
yeah.
big shout out to the forefather.
Yeah.
I want to call you the forefather of all this shit. Like,
Do you want to give any shout outs?
please, that's your camera.
Please do.
That's your camera.
Oh, right there. Okay, yeah. I just want to go big shout out to everybody out there that's been supporting and being a great supporter, fan, people to talk to, chill.
Yeah.
Especially, I was chilling with this. I see I get off tangent. I was chilling with this older person on the train today when I was coming in on the Via Rail. This is cool. Yeah, he doesn't know me at all, but he likes birds and he bird watches. And I didn't know what a wren from a sparrow was, and now I do.
You're such a nice guy. Look at that.
So big up to that guy. Everybody out there, and thanks for supporting. Go and check out SaintTapparel.com on Facebook, on Instagram. Also go check out Jumbo. Got the hats, got the this and the that, and Dub Style Magazine, everybody like that. So big up to everybody, and thank you for your support and being around for years and years and years. And I'll see you on the road. I'll see you in your city.
Yay.
Love it.
You guys should hold a legacy show. I think that would be dope with all the legends like of Toronto.
Brooklyn's
I
getting
think,
I think
that would be dope. And I think you guys should do something like the past versus the present,
past
which is
to
like
the
you guys are giving back, like showing, like they're showing their love to you guys, and you guys, you know what I mean, giving you guys your flowers, and at the same time giving the youngins that are coming up, showing the different styles,
our
and things
trees.
like that. Yeah, you get me, because I believe that. Especially when it comes to a lot of these young artists, if you guys notice in the industry, a lot of their number one hits come from samples that they took from number one hits back in the day.
That
You
was
understand?
Puffy back in the
You
day.
get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it's doing a 360 now, because Puffy used to do it. Now this generation
It's doing it to the
you
90s
understand?
and
So I
stuff,
believe
yeah.
like Toronto needs to see that, because a lot of people don't really know about the Choclairs or the Cardinals or the
they should know.
Mishies. You understand? But now it's like, if you were the fact that Drizzy brought you, Drake brought you guys out, a lot of the youngins got to know you guys because of him.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they know about you guys, I guarantee that show would be sold out.
Oh,
Sold
yeah.
out. For sure.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about it. We were actually just thinking about all the logistics, just bantering with just when
No doubt.
talking
Yeah,
about
if
it.
you guys are looking for a host, you guys already know Brooklyn, the female voice.
Yeah.
All right.
Will be that.
Bang, we're out. This is 5:13. Steady Mobbin. Easy.